Good evening and welcome to News Geelong, direct from the UCI Road World Championship Cycling City, current capital of the world, Geelong. Tonight we look at the highlights of the first day's events of the UCI Road World Championships in the under-23 men's time trial around the twisting and picturesque Geelong course. From the world of Geelong sport, our own flying hawk Nathan Curry speaks with Geelong Cricket Association President Grant Dew about the season ahead. And from the weather world, we bring you the latest in Geelong and surrounding districts' weather predictions over the next few important days of the UCI Road World Cycling Championships. Opening tonight's News Geelong, the eyes of approximately 400 million people around the world are currently on our great city of Geelong for the 2010 UCI Road World Cycling Championships. On Wednesday, the championships almost got off to a perfect start for Australia when Luke Durbridge became the youngest rider ever to win an under-23 World Time Trial medal, a silver medal, as he was pipped by 1.9 seconds by USA champion Taylor Phinney. In the women's event, Emma Pooley of Great Britain became the first British rider to win the Women's World Time Trial after blitzing the field to lead at all three time checks around the 22.8 kilometre course at Geelong. Pooley, the 2008 Olympic silver medalist, powered home in the final third of the course to give herself an early birthday present, a gold medal and the rainbow jersey. Out on the bay, if an approaching big ship is blowing its whistle, it means one thing: get out of the way, as Merrill Friend reports.
We see about 500 ships, more than 500 ships a year here in Geelong. We move about 12 million tonnes of cargo in and out. That's the royal we, you understand. We don't physically do that. It's the stevedores and the ships. And that's quite a task. It adds a lot of money to the state economy and to the local economy. And it involves a lot of seafarers visiting our port.
And there's talks that there'll be more happening in our port in Geelong, taking over some of the extra business from Melbourne. Is that right?
The Minister, Tim Pallas, asked that there be alternatives developed to the Port of Melbourne's expansion in future years. Port of Melbourne is tipped to become much, much bigger than it is now in terms of cargo throughput. And one of the alternatives came from Asiano, which is a very, very big player in cargo handling in Oz. And that suggested that there could be an expansion of trade through Geelong. But we'd see an expansion in any case, just as populations increase and as economies grow. We run a program called Keep Clear of Big Ships. You might have seen some of our material around. What we encourage people to do is to just be aware when you're on the water. Let me give you an example. You're out there, it's a beautiful day, there are a couple of you fishing in the boat. The wind's blowing just nice gentle breeze, it's lapping against the side of the boat, so it's a little bit noisy maybe. You might have the engine running because you haven't wanted to turn it off because you pick your fishing line up and go somewhere else. And there's a bloody great 90,000 tonne tanker bearing down on you. You can't hear it because the wind's blowing the noise away. He doesn't make much noise going through the water. And if the wind is blowing away, even if he's blowing his whistle, you might not hear it. So we say, just keep a lookout, look around. Our channel's narrow and ships can't get out. If they slow down too much, they can't steer. And if they catch you, then that's a serious accident for you. So.
Thank you, Merrill. And remember, my port, my place, my Geelong. Power to the People by 2020 is about how the community can unite to lead Australia to a clean energy future, as Andrea Cozza reports.
The Geelong City Library hosted the second series of the Open Mind Lectures, which discussed clean energy. Magnus, you mentioned the three main ideas behind Power to the People by 2020 as environmentally and economically responsible and strengthening democracy. Could you expand on those ideas?
Well, essentially, we're interested in environmental sustainability. So how do we face this challenge of transitioning to a clean energy source for Australia? We're interested in social justice. How do we ensure that Australian citizens are the main beneficiaries in this transition? And democracy, well, we're interested in strengthening democracy because we're of the view that vested interests seem to have a little bit too much control over our federal and state politicians.
How achievable do you think it is?
Well, we're working hard to present the public with a national vote on renewable energy, and depending on whether we can get the word out to most Australians that the vote exists, it will then be up to Australians to decide to vote. So the achievability question is going to be in the hands of the people.
What will be the next step?
Well, the aim of the vote is to collect together 400,000 voters, and at that point we will come forward with the detailed plan as to how to transition Australia to zero net emissions by 2020. And we will then ask the 400,000 if they are prepared to invest in a feasibility study to confirm the financial viability of such a plan. So they're the steps.
Andrea Kozza at the Geelong Library for News Geelong.
Thank you, Andrea. The Wool Quilt Prize is a visual feast of colour, design and texture, celebrating the art of contemporary wool quilt making, proudly presented by the National Wool Museum in Geelong. Expressions has grown in popularity since its inception in 2000, as Ian Nichols reports on our latest National Quilt Award winner.
It's a very busy time here at the National Wool Museum in Geelong. We've got so much happening in our city right now with the Road Cycling Championships and the National Wool Quilting Prize. Now, this is a very prestigious event. It's a biannual event, and quilters have come from all over Australia, not only to be here today, but to enter their work. And today, the announcement of the prize winner is being made. We understand this lady comes from Malakuta in East Gippsland. Her name is Kim Gordon, and I do believe there's a round of applause now for our winner of the 2010 Quilt Prize. And here is the winner of Expressions 2010, all the way from Malakuta, Kim Gordon. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Now, this work is different. Can you tell us something about it?
Well, it's not a photographic representation, it's an impression of Gabo Island, which is near Malakuta.
Well, it's famous for its lighthouse, but here we're seeing lots of waves and rocks and things.
Yeah, well, there's granite rocks, and the lighthouse is actually built out of the granite that's on the island, which is slightly pink.
And have you been quilting for very many years?
About 2 years.
So you're relatively new to the game.
Yeah.
Well, you've had very early success in your career.
Thank you.
And are you going to continue entering competitions such as this?
I'm going to buy a new machine and enter everything.
Well, what do they say? Nothing breeds success like success, does it?
Yeah, okay.
Well, that's wonderful. And do you have friends in Gippsland who are also helping you along the way?
With buying quilts?
I thought maybe you've got a club or something like that.
No. Oh, there's a sewing group at Malakuta, but we all do very different stuff.
At the National Wool Museum for the National Quilt Prize, this is Ian Nichols for News Geelong.
Thank you, Ian. This is News Geelong as we go to a break and return with more news after this.